Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
But you can take one person and mentor them and teach them what you know. How are you valuing every person? So what I heard you say is this, so they can teach what you know. Oh, this is fun, isn't it? This is what we want to do, is develop people. We're at the CI2 Training, Innovation, and Improvement Symposium here at Dayton at the Wright Brothers Institute. This is so exciting.
I think the biggest thing for me is the next step that I need to take is to gain clarity on my alignment, as you were talking right earlier, alignment. So
here, the big takeaway from this, from me, for the value of just adopting some of the, I kind of put a acronym to it, live hemp. So listening, integrity, value, and so I can bring that, and I can't wait to apply it. So I can't wait to get the action items from you. And
I've already heard that, but what I want you to think about.
All right, I am really overjoyed today. We have a very special guest waiting for us in the green room. But before we get started and I introduce her, as you know, we have a moment of gratitude every time we meet here on the show. So today, like every single day during February, I was really excited and grateful for the participation of African American in the American story. Right, there is no American story without Black history, and every single day in February, that's what I did. So we kind of go back to what we used to do. If you would maybe close your eyes for just a minute and think about one thing that you are grateful for right now. Maybe take a deep breath, slow down your nervous system, and think about one thing you are grateful for now. And for me, like almost every day, I am grateful that I am still alive, which means there is hope for me. Because somebody last night went to sleep and they didn't wake up this morning. But I am still here, and I am so grateful for it. So let us know in the comment what you are grateful for. I would like to know. Let us also know where you are joining us from, what city, what state. Since we are global now, which country if outside of the US. And also, if you have a question for my guest, please type it in the comment and we will be answering live. So let me see if I can properly introduce our guest today. So today I am going to be speaking to the one and only Coach Melahni Ake. She's the founder of Everyday Leaders Professional Coaching and Consulting, 8 times best-selling author, Maxwell Leadership Certified Executive International Speaker, Trainer, and teacher. And she's also the host of the Everyday Leaders 1550 podcast. For over 25 years, she has led in corporate America before fully stepping into her calling to equip leaders across healthcare, military, nonprofit, and executive spaces. She has led at 7:30 a.m. daily leadership devotional since October 1st, 2019. Over 2,000 consecutive days of consistency. Wow. Her message is powerful and simple. It's not what you do in a day, it's what you do every day. So this episode will be titled Everyday Leaders Change the World, the Power of Daily Consistency, because we believe what we're going to be able to teach you today, what you're going to learn is going to be why consistency beats talent every time. All right, without any further ado, please help me welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast, the one and only Coach Melahni Ake. All right. Good afternoon. I guess it's good evening where you are, Coach. How are you doing today?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun.
Yes, this is gonna be fun. I'm really, really glad you are here. So maybe to get started, what is one thing you are grateful for today?
Oh, grateful for my family.
Yes.
My mother just had knee surgery December the 29th, and she just turned 83
Wow.
a couple of weeks ago. So I am grateful that she has great health. She's
Yes.
recovering. She's a stubborn German, and she is doing great.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that is so wonderful to hear, and I hope she really recovers quickly.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Is there maybe something about you that most people watching us may not know about you when they first meet you?
They may not know that I grew up playing ice hockey on an all-boys league.
Really?
Yes.
Wow,
In
that's
fact
amazing.
in fact, right behind me is my very first hockey jersey.
Wow,
Yeah, right up there.
12. That's amazing. Because I think the US team, Aki, we just won gold, right?
We
We beat
did
Canada.
women and men. Like, come
Isn't
on,
that crazy?
we gotta celebrate.
Wow.
Yes.
Because the first time I saw American play hockey is when I moved to San Jose. San Jose. I guess we have the San Jose Shark, I think is what they call them themselves. But I've
Yeah,
always known hockey to be like a Canadian sport and American football to be American. But I guess we are pretty good at whatever we set our mind to these days. That's
ab
pretty awesome.
absolutely. And, in San Jose, that was pretty historic for me because when I was 40, I joined a women's competitive league. So we were playing in co-ed leagues all around to keep our fitness up. But I
Wow.
joined this women's competitive league and we participated in the nationals in San Jose.
Really?
And I scored a goal, and it was one of those highlights of, like, "Oh, I played defense, like, how am I gonna score this goal?"
Wow.
Took the shot, right? That was always my thing, take
Hmm.
the shot, you never know. Took the
Yes.
shot, scored a goal, and it advanced us to the next level, so it's,
Wow.
really, really fun to think about
That's
our
amazing.
connections now, right?
Yeah, that is really amazing, and it's also amazing how sport, especially team sport, can teach you a lot about life and
Mhm.
business. Wow, can you maybe expand on no, what you said? No, take the shot. Someone is listening right now. Maybe they're thinking about like you jump out of corporate America, maybe start their own business or consulting firm, or maybe leadership development training or whatever. But they're kind of scared. They don't want to take that shot. What would you tell them?
Do it. Too many people are so afraid. We sit at our desk in corporate America, and it's a great place to learn, right? It's
Mhm.
a great place to be disciplined, to have somebody keep you accountable, to be on time, to get reports done, to have the meetings, to be nervous in front of presentations. And
Mhm.
yet, when you sit and think about, like, gosh, if I could just get rid of all these things that drive me insane and I could do it myself. If you have that desire within you, you're an entrepreneur. And you
Hmm.
have to figure out, like, what it is that you absolutely could do every single day and not even worry about the paycheck. Go
Yes.
do it, go try it, and as Chris Robinson, my business mentor says, "It's due day," right? You just go
Yes.
do it.
Yes.
I've always had that vision within myself to say, if you're adding value to people, God kind of puts you in the right path.
Mm,
So you can't let the fear hide what is inside of you. And
yes.
and I say, just take the shot, right? Take the shot. The worst that could happen is you have to take it again, right?
Yes, yes. Because I was going to ask you. Most people are afraid because they always ask, "What if I fail? What if it doesn't work?"
Yeah.
So what'd you say to that?
It probably won't work the first time, right? You got to prepare yourself for it. Probably
Yes,
won't work, but what if it does?
yes.
Right? What if it does? You have to think that it's going
Mm,
to. And so don't be afraid. There's so many stories that I'm going to share with you today that
yes.
are those opportunities that have put me in the next opportunity
Wow,
that I
that's
had
powerful.
no idea, but things that God has planned for you, you can't
Yes.
see. But if you trust
Mm,
the process and you say, "How can I be creative with my own will? How can I add value to someone?" Show them something like Jesse Cole, we've just done Live to
uh,
Lead this session, and he talks about energizing the experience, your audience. I have always felt that way because of my history that you're gonna learn about, but
yes.
it's always made me feel like there's something greater within that we need to share with people, and they need
Mm,
to feel that love and appreciation in our communities, and so the things that I have done that have pushed that envelope have allowed me to grow in a way that I never even thought possible, right?
wow. That is really amazing. You mentioned Chris Robinson earlier, who is my mentor, but also Papa John. Can you tell us a little bit? Well, Dr. John C. Maxwell, I call him Papa John. Most of us do at Maxwell Leadership. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got to meet him and be associated with Maxwell Leadership, which at the time I think it was called John Maxwell Team. We
It
just
was,
rebranded a
it
few years
was.
ago.
Yes, in 2016, I received several phone calls from advisors that were saying, "Hey, you should join the team." And at that time, I was in corporate America and I was in medical device sales and traveling
Wow.
internationally. And so for me, I said, "I have a career. I
Mm.
don't really understand why you're calling me." Right? I don't get
Yes.
it. Although I was on LinkedIn a lot and I was promoting our medical device things and trainings that we were doing. And
Mhm.
so I finally, I don't know, probably 6 times that I was called and I said, I really need to just hop on a call and find out what
Yes.
it's about." So I did, and I immediately said, "This is exactly what I need," right?
Wow.
Personal growth is something that I had forgotten about. I mean, I had challenged myself to do things, but I
Mhm.
had not really leaned into a community that provided personal growth
Yes.
direction. I'd read John's books. I had read many leader books, and John was one of my very favorites, but I thought
Mhm.
to be able to gain access to John, right?
Yes.
That's different. It's not just reading a book or going to a seminar. Now I did all of
Mhm.
those things too.
Yes.
It's the communication and it's finding those dots that I have learned that my family had been so intertwined and connected to that has just it's changed my life,
Yes.
the transformation that's happened because I said yes and I took
Mm.
the shot.
Wow, that is powerful. Now we do share Papa John as a mentor, but there is another one. He's a mentor to me from a distance only, but he's actually one of your primary mentors as well. Can you tell me about this young man right here? Most people know him because he wrote the best-selling book "Start with Why," and this book has been recommended at least a dozen times since last year. So it's on my list of most recommended book. Can you tell us about Simon?
Oh,
Sinek?
Simon. So I joined the John Maxwell team in 2016, and part of that invitation was, now you get 2 tickets to come to our signature event, which is called Live to Lead.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Atlanta, and so I joined in September, and I had, like, a couple of weeks, to
Yes.
kinda plan, and they said, "It's the first Friday, and it's in Atlanta," and I thought, "Oh my gosh, there's no way. I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake because I have to be in Germany on Monday to train these device reps, and I haven't bought my ticket yet, but there's no way this is gonna work out, right? And so I thought, "I've just spent all this money, and I'm getting things for free. I can't even show up, right? Like,
Wow.
this is the wrong turn."
Yes.
But then something happened. my awesome husband said, "Hey, I'll drive you to Atlanta and we
Wow.
can go." Like, we had 2 tickets. We'll go to Atlanta and we can go to the Live to Lead. And so I met Simon, I met John, I met Dan Cathy, Liz Wiseman,
Yeah.
and Tracy Morrow, which is a great friend now. And I just started the journey and I leaned in.
Wow.
And so at that time at Live to Lead, they had kind of private book signings, everybody
Mm,
got to do that. So I got in Simon's line and I had him sign The Infinite Game.
yeah.
And I said, "Simon, I'm so excited to meet you because I didn't really have any idea until a couple of weeks ago you were gonna be here and I was gonna
Yeah.
be here. And yet," I said, "I'm teaching all of your materials start with why,
Wow.
translated in Germany when
That's
that's where I'm going
amazing.
Monday."
Wow.
Right? So, again, you don't know what's ahead until you
Yes.
say yes, and then all this
Wow.
amazing stuff continue to happen.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes,
Like I
yes.
say, the rest is history. Now, you've built a brand for yourself now around everyday leaders change the world. What defining moment made that message personal for you?
Oh, okay, so I went to the first international Maxwell certification, okay?
Mhm.
Um,
IMC?
so so for people that are watching this that have no idea what we're talking about,
Yeah.
this is part of the process. You join the team, you go through this training for 3 days, and you're invited to come when the next time is that you can make it. So
Mhm.
mine was March of 2017, and I sat in the room and I listened to John, and he talked about this 15 Laws of Growth book.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, I haven't read that one yet." And then he started talking about these masterminds, and
Yes.
I'm like, "What? Ho I don't have time to do this." Like, again, I'm failing, I can't do this, there's no time, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to follow the process, and I've spent a lot of
Yes.
money. So, I really doubted what was gonna come next,
Really? You
although
doubting? I can't believe it.
Although, I said the only way for me to be accountable is to get
Yes.
people right here in the room on board, because I
Mhm.
need accountability. And I was traveling in different time zones. I was over in Europe for, like, 8 months, right? So,
Yeah.
I said, "I need everybody's email address."
Mm.
So I went around the room, and on the tables that you sit at, I just got everybody's email addresses, and I said, "I'm gonna put on the Maxwell Leadership Facebook page
Yeah.
that we're gonna start a mastermind.
Wow.
Anybody that wants to join, let's go. Let's learn this."
So you must not be an introvert.
Well, I actually am.
I suspected.
I
Wow.
am, but I'm a high I. I'm an ISD on the
Yes.
disc,
Mhm.
right? So I need people, but gosh, then I need to sleep for like a week.
Yes.
But so that's what I did because I knew accountability was the only way that I was
Mhm.
gonna be able to get it done, and I thought,
Wow.
"I've paid a lot of money to get mentored by John Maxwell. I
Yes.
need to listen to him." So, as I went home and I started doing these masterminds, you may know Eric Reed, Coach
Yeah.
Eric Reed. He kind of he hijacked our our Facebook page and he said, "Can I join?" And
Wow.
I said, "Of course you can. Who are you?" So, he started to tell the story, right? And so he helped us really start to visualize what a
Mm.
mastermind could be. That was the best thing that could have happened.
Wow.
Somebody, a mentor inside, leaning
Yes.
in and taking us under the wing and saying, "Look, this is kind of fun, and here's
Mhm.
how you can do it, and it's a way."
Wow.
And from that, just, over the course of the months, we met every single week. Every single Wednesday we met, and at about, August, so now it's March, you go down and it's about August,
Mhm.
and I thought, "Okay, I'm 49 years old. And I really needed to think about what was I gonna do as I turned 50."
Mm.
It started laying on my heart, because most people climb a mountain or they have this big goal or they go on a vacation or they
Yes.
do something big, and I had never really planned for that thing. I never
Mhm.
really thought of my life as like, "Okay, this is a chapter." It
Yes.
was just go, do it every day, right?
Mhm.
So but this was different because now I had learned more about myself, and as
Wow.
we were studying the 15 laws, I was applying every week a lesson,
Mm.
and And it started to help me because you start off with chapter 1 for those that have never read this book, get it,
Yes.
read it. Chapter 1 is all about intentionality, and it
Mhm.
takes you through 8 gaps in your life. And it asks you the question to rate yourself, like, which of these gaps do you feel like you need help with, right? That you need a
Yes.
little bit of help, assessing, and I think at that time, I could check 5 of the 8. And
Wow.
so, I was really like, "Wow, this is kind of ripping the Band-Aid off," because it was about personal growth, and
Mhm.
and so that made me start to get really curious. Right, so another chapter in this book, but it made me get so curious that I thought, "I've lost what I love to do,
Mhm.
why I went to college," and I went to college to be a journalist.
Wow.
I went to be the next Katie Couric.
Yes.
I went to Ball State, to David Letterman's college, and thought, "I'm gonna do this." When I got to college, something happened. I didn't enjoy campus life. They were changing the curriculum.
Hmm.
They didn't for me, I was just kind of pushed into kind of a senior level class curriculum, and it really made me stop and say, "I'm not so sure that I wanna do it this way."
Yeah.
So, I left Ball State. I left Ball State, and I came home, and I got a job at a bank, and I started working my way through school, and that's how that finished, right? That's how I got my
Hmm.
business degree and my psychology and administration degree. But I didn't ever let go of the person that I was through high school and interviewing people in media and public
Yes.
relations. I love that part of me, and that became what I did in my jobs from a marketing, sales, training, and leadership role, right?
Mhm.
It helped me be that confident leader that I was inside because I knew how to communicate to people, I knew how to add value to people, I
Mm.
knew what I wanted the outcome to be, I could see, how to bring that together, and so that really helped me even though I didn't get the degree in
Yes.
that. So here I am at 49 going, "Well, I haven't lost that. I
Mm.
can actually start interviewing people again."
Yes.
But this time getting really curious about what I was so curious about in myself. How does how does this book affect everybody?
Mm.
Like,
Powerful.
okay, so, what are the challenges people had? What are the decisions they've made?
Yes.
How were they going through pain like I was experiencing, you know? So
Mhm.
it made me look at the world completely different from a personal growth perspective, and I said to my husband again that he does media, audio, broadcasting, and
Yeah.
production, and I said, "Joe, do you think you could help me start a podcast?"
Yes.
And at that
Wow.
time, 2017, right? It was kind of before the surge,
Mhm.
and so anyway, my birthday is on the 2nd week of January, January 12th, and I decided that, hey, I was going to
Wow.
launch my podcast on my 50th birthday. That was gonna be the thing.
Well, Kitty Koik, watch out. Wow.
It wa So it was so fun, and then I said, for the challenge, right, accountability, here we go,
Mhm.
consistency, I said, "It's gotta be 50 shows in 50 weeks in my 50th year."
Wow.
So that's how I themed it, and and so then I was scurrying around to like, "Okay, who's gonna be my guest?"
Yes. Wow.
But yeah, so that's kinda how all that started,
That's amazing.
and then it was just about showing up, right?
Mhm.
Being consistent and showing up. And then what was happening next was so awesome because my company
Wow.
was seeing how I was growing, right? When you start to
Mhm.
focus on personal development,
Yes.
the people that you don't think are watching you,
Yeah, they are.
you kind of get afraid because now you've got momentum.
Yes. Yes.
And
Wow.
that's kind of what started to happen is I got really clear and confident in the things that I did know. And you know
Yes.
how John says, "Well, you know more, you can see more,"
Mhm.
right? And so you do more because you can see more now.
Yes. Yes.
That's what was happening.
The
And,
law of navigation. Yeah.
yeah, it just, again, I started practicing, right? I was applying the lessons that I was learning, and
Mm.
so for me, things started to go like a freight train. It just
That's
got
awesome.
really clear, really
Yeah,
clear.
again, the rest is history. Now, I want to take you back, if it's okay, into a darker time because I think it might help the people listening now. Uh, I know, based on your work, you lost your father at such a young age, and how did that kind of shape your lens on life? How did that experience influence your drive, your resilience, and positivity?
Yeah. So my dad passed away. He was 29 years old when he was diagnosed with lung cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
And we lived in Indianapolis, and so my grandparents decided that there was a physician at Stanford University that might be able to help him. So they were Nazarene song evangelists, and they didn't have a lot of money, so we all rented this hotel, and we stayed in this little hotel, El Camino Real. It was called the Stanford Arms Hotel in
Mhm.
Palo Alto, and where I started kindergarten.
Wow.
And he was treated at Stanford for, a few months until they said, "There's really nothing else that we can do."
Mm.
So, at 29, as he was getting ready to turn 30 in September, we we went back to Orlando to where my grandparents had a home, and that's where he passed away that December.
Wow.
And so I was 5, getting ready to turn 6 that January, and it absolutely life-changing, right? I mean, when you have
Yes.
that kind of a loss, and and so it was really difficult. I have no other siblings,
Mm.
and we moved back to Indianapolis because that's kind of where we live, that's where we're established, and my mom worked at the hospital, she was a nurse, and my grandparents really took me under their wing to protect me,
Wow.
and thank God for that, because
Yes.
they really gave me, the my grandmother read First Thessalonians 4:13 to me as I was
Mhm.
just wondering, again, curiosity of like, "Well, what happened to dad and what how do we
Yes.
know? Like, how do we know we're protected?" And so I memorized First Thessalonians 4:13 as a child and
Mhm.
always held that with me of like, this is what's gonna happen when we all get to meet again,
Mm.
when God comes back,
Yes.
we're gonna just all be collected together, and
Mhm.
it's gonna be a happy experience, it's gonna be so much joy, so don't fear the things that have happened because
Yes.
there's more next, right?
Wow.
And that's what I've always held with me, and so through all those difficult times, I knew that it was gonna be okay. Like, I had
Yes.
peace with me. Um,
Hmm.
so that's what's been really amazing to look at. A lot of people go through difficulty, and they don't ever really understand how to connect that hope
Yes.
or faith, and I thank God every day for my grandparents because they really guided me, and I traveled with them to camp meetings and just had
Wow.
so much fun learning about how to build a faith-based community,
Yes.
and that's what they
Wow.
did. So that's just that was part of my life and really what
Yes.
my focus was from a very young age.
Wow, that is so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think I lost my father in 2011. He had prostate cancer. I was affected, but not as affected as I became when I lost my mom because my mom was my hero. She was my everything. And
So sad.
yeah, if I didn't have faith, I don't think I would have made it. And what was very strange too is, yeah, I kind of knew she had just passed away, and she was in France. So, and it was during the pandemic too. So basically, the borders in France were all closed. They didn't allow anybody to fly in. So I had to have special permission from their prime minister, which I asked through the French embassy in San Francisco. But anyway, so they allowed me and my brother to go there. It's the day that we actually buried her. That's when I realized I will never see her again. Like she's really, really gone. It just hit me like a break, and faith definitely helped me get through it. I don't think I will ever get through it completely, but I was unable to do much of anything. The next couple of days after that. So I know faith is extremely important. But
It's so hard.
thank you.
People without it, I my heart hurts for them because I know
Mm.
that that's really the only thing that gives you the joy,
Yes.
right? It just
Hope.
gives you so much joy knowing the memories, be
Hmm.
glad because it happened, right? Be glad because you have tomorrow to be hopeful for,
Yes.
and know that where they are, like, it's so peaceful.
Mm.
It's selfish for us to go, "I wish they were here,"
Yes. Yes.
but, glad that it happened, and I think about all the memories. My dad used to drive me around on his motorcycle with our
Wow.
monkey. We had a monkey.
That's unusual. Wow.
Yes, he was so fun.
Yes. Wow. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming your mom was a disciplinarian, huh?
Oh, yes, she's a double German.
Yes.
She's
Yes.
very that's why she's healing so well with her knee surgery because she follows the
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah, I really thank God for my wife because many times I am no the parents with our two daughters it was really fun taking them to Disney and having all kinds of great fun. When it comes time to discipline, I let my wife take care of that. But probably not fair. But anyway, so you spent like 25 years in medical device sales, like you did earlier, you said earlier, and leadership. What did corporate America teach you about influence, discipline, and execution?
Oh, teamwork, communication, if you don't have that, you're never gonna be successful. Everything is
Sure.
so competitive in the world,
Yes.
and that environment can be really ugly, and you have to be able to raise your lid. You have to
Mm,
find the people that are the lid lifters and move towards them because there are many people in any environment. I don't care if you're in education,
yes.
manufacturing, medical device sales, banking, whatever it is, you have people that just don't want to be leaders.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And so you have to move into the right circles, and you have to put yourself into those right circles, but that
Mhm.
takes confidence.
Yes.
And if you don't have the ability to develop that confidence with the right people, it takes you a lot longer to learn that lesson.
Mm.
Um, and
Sure.
trusting the right people is because you can read them, you can ask the right questions. John always says, "Good
Yes.
leaders ask great questions,"
That's true. You wrote a book about that too. Yeah.
right? One of
That's
the many.
amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all of those lessons that you think about, John teaches us that are so simple
Mhm.
because it works,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so when you start to apply those basic values, principles into the things that you do, you start to understand and you see things before others see very
Sure.
clearly about
Mhm.
if I say no to this project or if I say yes to this project, what
Yes.
happens next, right?
Yes. Yes. So powerful. I'm glad you mentioned communication. I believe this is the last law book that Papa John wrote, the 16 and then law of communication. Everybody here already knows about the laws of leadership because we've been studying this since last year. And then you just mentioned earlier the 15 laws of growth. I think the only other law book is teamwork, which I have up there. But communication is so key. It helps you with your business, with your marriage, with your relationship, with your friendship, with pretty much everything, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does.
Wow.
It's the base of everything because,
Yes.
we show up as we are, right?
Mhm.
And we want others to show up as we are.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the
So
hardest thing.
yes.
We have to start showing up for others and start
Mhm.
understanding. So with the Maxwell disc, the disc profiles. Now I had taught disc for a long time and I'm certified through Simon's Y Institute. Now it's not
Mhm.
Simon. It's a physician that sat with Simon and created this assessment called the Y assessment.
Mhm.
So I've learned that, but putting that with DISC, and then not long ago, I became a DISC consultant through Maxwell because I learned the value of having all of the Maxwell branded
Mm.
information because it is in my DNA, right?
Yes.
So it's not just
Yes.
like, "Oh, I wanna refer this," but I can help you go through this and teach you the principles in this. And
Mm.
so, doing that really helped open the door to helping the groups that I serve communicate
Yes.
in a whole different way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Why do you think it's important? Earlier, you mentioned first you have to know yourself, and you spent a lot of time doing that. But why is it important to also know the personality of the other members of your team, the people you work with?
Oh
And
my goodness.
this will help you do that.
Absolutely. It's so invaluable because the things that normally trigger you, right? You have this sense of forgiveness
Mm-hmm.
for other people, and you enter the room with curiosity again of like,
Yes.
how can I ask them a question that's going to add value to them
Mm.
and help bring out their strengths so that it's not about what my agenda is or what I'm trying to get out. We're collaborating, right?
Mm.
Communication is all about collaborating. It's not a one side, I need you to know this information, you need to do
Yes.
this for me. That doesn't work
Powerful.
in any
Yes.
room.
True. True. So powerful. So another thing that you say a lot, so I call that a Melanism. You say it's not what you do in a day, but it's what you do every day. Papa John says something similar. When did that truth become non-negotiable for you?
Oh, wow. Okay, so 2018, I was eliminated from my position,
Hmm. So
4
2019.
months after I started my podcast. And in 2018, I joined this team as a startup company hired me to be their VP of sales and build their company for
Mm.
device products. So I had done that role for about a year, and then some things changed. The leader, some awful things happened. And so, anyway, it became an opportunity for me to open up a medical device company to help, again, add value to my customers.
Mhm.
So I did because I said, I can learn this. Right? Take
Wow.
the shot. Uh, I did everything wrong. I would never do it again.
Wow.
I went through a lot of my 401k. Like, it was really bad. I had 46 employees that I was funding the company for and not getting investor dollars. It was
Mm.
horrible, right? Right before COVID, like, it was just you didn't know what was coming, but I didn't pay
Yeah.
attention to that. I just knew that I wanted to serve bigger, and I didn't have an opportunity because I was with the wrong people. I was just with
Yes.
the wrong I kept trying to make it work so hard that I was like, "Why isn't it working?" Right?
Mhm.
Everything should be working. I know how to do this. I did not.
Wow.
And I wasn't prideful. I was so overwhelmed with just, thinking that I had to keep things going for everybody else.
Mhm.
And so then in September of 2019, John released A Minute with Maxwell. Now, for those that
Yeah.
don't know, he has a daily encouragement with a word that he just pushes out on video. He doesn't do it
Mhm.
every day. He records them
Yes.
previously. They ship them out. But
Yes.
this one, I don't know why. Like, some days you listen to him, some days you don't. This day I did. And he said, if you are searching for clarity and courage and wisdom, read Proverbs
Mm.
31 days.
Powerful.
And I thought, is it that simple?
Yes. Yes.
And so that's what I did. I said, well, I looked at the calendar. I mean, I'm logical, right? So, and I'm about
Yes.
application. I love Chris
Mhm.
Robinson because I am about due day. And I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So I reached out to a bunch of people and I said, hey, I'm going to start this Bible study on October 1st. And if you want to join me, I'm going to put up a public Zoom link and you can join me. 30
Wow.
minutes. We're going to like use the leadership Bible. It's what I bought when I went to IMC in 2017. I need to
Mhm.
start diving in, like, let's do Proverbs. Okay. So we showed up on Zoom on October 1st, 2019,
Wow.
and in about 31 days, it was so clear that I knew that I needed courage to write to the manufacturing team and tell them, "I am no longer gonna be a distributor for your product. I
Yes.
am getting rid of all of this. I have to make a change." And
Wow.
so that's what happened in those 31 days, and I am so grateful that I listened to
That's
Papa
amazing.
God
Yes.
and
Wow.
took action, right? If I would not have taken action, I would have not gotten that clarity.
Yes. That is really, really powerful. And of course, for those who follow me, we went through 31 days of Proverb in January. We went through each and every chapter. And now what I'm doing is I'm going back, but using artificial intelligence now to give like a 10-minute recap of an hour-long session we had for each one of the book of Proverb in January. Something I used to do when I was a teenager all by myself. And then when I got married, I would do it with my wife. So this is the first time I've done this publicly. Of course, no, I don't focus on religion. It's just wisdom and just a leadership lesson you get out of it. And as you mentioned, no, the Maxwell Leadership Bible is our manual, because not only you get the Bible, but you also get all of the other leadership insights you will get
600
nowhere
lessons
else.
on leadership. I
It's
mean, come on.
incredible, yeah. So, but anyway, so for the AI recap, we stopped at chapter 15, but we're gonna continue at chapter 16, and I will let people who follow me. You are gonna know when I am going to do it. But something about you, though, Coach Melahni, I am extremely impressed. So you started October 1st, 2019. Every day at 7:30 a.m. over 2,000 consecutive days. How in the world did you do that? What kept you consistent when motivation faded? I'm sure motivation faded at some point.
It's
How did you do it?
yeah, okay, so the 31 days was awesome. I got my little graduation cap on.
Yes.
Played music, and we were like, "Woo-hoo, did it!" But then, it was like, "Okay, so what do you do next?"
Mhm.
And so we're all just like, "Well, we keep going." Like, that's what you do next.
Wow.
And so that's what happened. It's just everyone wanted to keep the
Going.
momentum because we were learning so much.
Yes.
And I said, "Well, okay, here's the Zoom link." And so then I just kind
Amazing.
of put it on my website now, and I have it there where anybody can join any
Yes.
morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, and we go through whatever chapter. Like now we're on Job. Oh my gosh, that's so hard.
Yes.
But we're on Job, and so we're finishing that, and then we just kind of let the Spirit lead us to, like, what are we learning and what do we
Mhm.
need, like, what do we need as a group next? And this
Yes.
community is international. Like, we have people from
That's
everywhere
amazing.
that join, and it's 30 minutes.
That's
We
amazing.
play the
Wow.
Nashville, we play the King James, then the Message, then we do the daily reader, right?
Yes.
Every day, and then we also do a lesson if there's a breakthrough box in the
Yeah.
Leadership Bible, we do that, and we just have conversation, and we learn, and
That's
we
amazing.
grow, and we say, "Apply it, and we'll see you tomorrow."
Wow. And your website, that's everydayleaders.com.
Yes,
Wow.
everydayleaders.com.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. You should be so very, very proud. Now, what about sometimes you also talk, and Papa John talks about this, the 1% growth every day. What does that mean to you, and how do you apply that in practice?
You feel it. That's the thing, you can't even understand it. You can talk about it all
Hmm.
day long. Until you do something every day and you
Mm.
understand that transformation, you just
Wow.
can't even understand what happens in your heart, what you see differently, what you have exposure to do differently,
Yes.
what people in the community see you and expect just of themselves of say, "Well, I know you can do that because I see
Mm.
you," right? And it's not about, like, this ego or pride, it's just, I know that this is what I must do. This
Yes.
is what I must do.
Wow.
And I am not a, "Hey, let me join that, and let me join that, and let me join that."
Hmm.
I'm like, "Hey, this works for me, and if it can help you, that's fantastic," because what I've
Wow.
learned is it's powerful.
That is really, really incredible, because, like you said, 31 days, you went to the book of Proverbs, you had clarity, and then you had the courage to just say, no, I'm not going to do this medical device thing anymore. That must have been kind of scary for you to do that, though. How do leaders build courage like you did when clarity clearly exposes uncomfortable change?
Oh my gosh, it was really hard because I
Wow.
felt like I was letting a lot of people down.
Hmm.
I felt like I was letting my customers down that I had built this one product line for a long time
Yes.
at clinical facilities, NYU, UCLA,
Wow.
Cedars-Sinai, Cornell, like places that they were my friends. So
Yes.
to say that now I was going to have to do something different, or they were going to have to be expecting something different, and I am
Mhm.
all about the experience, right? So
Yes.
my customers are my heart, and so that was really, really a difficult decision, but I
Mm.
knew that what I was involved in was not in alignment with who I was, and I didn't
Yes.
want to be. I almost felt tortured, like, "Well, you do this,"
Yes.
and so just different cultures, and if you're not
Yes.
prepared for that as investing in a community, a business, it was really, really great. It
Mm.
taught me a lot, and I
Wow.
said it was the thing that I will never do again.
Yes.
Not that way
Yes.
anyway.
Wow.
Um, but I learned a lot, and I wanted to get away from it, and I got the clarity. You
Yes.
know, Proverbs 31 is the woman
Yes.
that
Yes.
the strong woman can do and overcome, and I
Mhm.
just thought,
The virtuous woman. Yeah.
"Politically right. I
Wow.
don't need to do it this way anymore."
So powerful. No, one thing that amazes me is just no probably maybe what 2,000 year old, but it's still relevant today in 2026. That's just amazing. But also once you get that clarity, though, it's to me it makes it so much easier for you to know when to say yes and when to say no. Right? Something is not aligned with your values, with your purpose, where you are going. Doesn't matter if you make a lot of money or whatever it is. Like no, but that's good for somebody else, but it's just not for me. Right? So it allows you to be very focused on your own priority and where you are aligned and consistent with your own value, and that's really freedom, isn't it?
Yep. It
Wow.
was total freedom. Really scary because then I was a consultant trying to figure out, like, "Whew, what do I do now?" And so I did a
Yes.
lot of things. You know, I did a lot of things and still wasn't in alignment.
Hmm.
Worked for a lot of different companies that I thought, "Okay, I'll try this." And yet I thought, "These are really bad leaders. These are really
Yes.
dumb people out here leading
Yes.
companies."
Yes.
And it frustrated me so bad, and I just kept
Unfortunately.
leaning
Yeah.
into the team going, so but what also happened during that was my dad's identical twin passed away.
Wow. So then. Hmm.
So I had my father's identical twin for many years up until 2020.
Yes.
And so John's father passed away just a few
Yeah.
days before my uncle. And so that alignment, like with John, I
Mm.
feel like there's so many things that I have been aligned with him in
Yes.
life,
Mhm.
and that was just one more thing. And my father's name was John.
Wow.
And so that really, you know, all these things started to come together. Like I've had this loss, I've had
Yes.
this big change in my life from a career and trying to think like, what am I going to do next to have this big challenge?
Mm.
And so I just kept leaning into who did I know and stopped trying to align with other kinds of industries when I knew
Yes.
medical device. I knew the world of process control and workflow. I
Mhm.
knew how to lead people. I knew how to build community.
Yes.
That's what I started to do, which was so natural, and then
Wow.
things just started to change.
Yes. Yes. Wow. That is really amazing. And I think it's real freedom when you do work and you get paid for it, but you could do it without pay for the rest of your life. You're having so much fun.
Yep.
It's a different kind of thinking and living than being in that rat race. So let's make sure. Oh my goodness, we're almost running out of time. Looks like we just got started. I do want to talk about the forces framework because I think it's important to you, and I think it can help a lot of people who are listening now. Can you walk us through your forces framework? Confidence, clarity, courage, and consistency.
Yeah, well, it's clarity first, right? So you've gotta get
Yes.
clear, and maybe there are things that trigger you to make you unclear, and it gets you really upset, and
Mm,
like, those are the triggers, right? That's why the DISC profile and the why are so important, because
yes.
if you do not know yourself, as John says, you can't do anything else. You always think it's about somebody else, and somebody's doing it
Yes.
to you and not for you, right?
Mm,
So that's really the clarity, and then having the courage to take that step, and not just waiting or planning for it, but the
yes.
courage to act. The courage to act. So you gotta do it now. You gotta get clear, then you gotta
Yes.
do it now. That's what builds the consistency in your life to give you the
Mm,
confidence. And so then that's a snowball, right? That snowball
yes.
effect gives you the next step to give you everything else that's gonna open up to you, because then you have momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the momentum. Until you can do all of those steps, and the courage part is really hard, the clarity part is really hard, taking
Yes.
that action is really hard, but my gosh, if you can just push through that and you can get that confidence to get on the ice and take that shot and score that goal,
Mm,
there
wow.
is nothing like the other side. Nothing like
Yes.
it.
Yes. But you do have to take action. Speaking about that, one of your Melanism is God size awareness requires God size action. How What does that mean, and how do you apply that in a professional context?
Oh, you know, there's been so many examples that I could give you right now, and it would take hours.
Yes.
But the things that I have learned, that I have seen, that I have taken action on, created the opportunities. And
Mm,
they weren't just opportunities for me, they were opportunities to grow communities. They
yes.
were opportunities that people came to me. They
Wow.
were drawn to me like I had honey out, and I was like, "How did you know about this?" Right? I didn't even talk like, "How did you know about this?" But
Yes.
people helped me with programs at schools for at-risk youth that just I
Wow.
needed a program developed in 2 weeks, and it was every day at a high school, and
Wow.
people just came and showed up and said, "Hey, do you know what I'm looking for? I wanna serve a high school girls program. Do you have any connections?" And it
Mm,
was exactly at the time when I needed that help. And what happened is we ran a program every day, everyday leaders, every day for an entire year and served these girls with just
mm,
the people that showed up and consistently, right, every
yes.
single day. And we were all business leaders, consultants, running our companies, doing things,
Wow.
and yet God provided the pathway. I was like, "I'm not a
Yes.
teacher, I don't have kids, I'm not in the school system," but yet he put this opportunity in front of me to
Yes.
say, "I need you to serve here." And
Wow.
so
That
I
is
did.
powerful. Well, you may not have kids in natural, but you definitely have a lot of leaders that you have developed. So, uh, thank you for all of the work you do. It's incredible. Now, one a member of our community, a very active member, Daniel Young, he says, for leaders trying to build a safe haven community for people in toxic, ultra-competitive environments. So that's Silicon Valley right there. What makes it a true white circle that protects integrity, sustains hope, and not more noise? It's a very good question.
Mm. So you have to put the right people in that circle,
Yes.
right? That's the thing, and you know by asking the right questions when you have a toxic person.
Mhm.
So you always say, right, like, if you could remove that one person from the room, who would that be?
Yes.
And so you can't manipulate it, but you have to create the environment that real leaders will show up. Real
Mm,
leaders will show up to serve each other. And so you have to create that environment where people are going to join together. And maybe it's a challenge of, hey, we're going to do this and lift that lid so that people will rise to the occasion.
mhm.
And the people that don't want to rise, they won't go.
Yes.
They just won't go.
Wow.
And so you can kind of de-escalate that by, you know,
Yes.
self-select themselves, but that's always how it happens, and we always wanna
Mm,
say, like, "I just wanna put you in timeout and you can go in this room."
yes. I guess you
But
have to have the courage to act, going back to your forces, right?
yes, create the energy, right?
Mhm.
Create the energy that lifts, and so and maybe, right, maybe they change their heart and maybe
Mhm.
they see something in you that inspires them to
Yes.
change their attitude about it, and
Wow.
that can always happen.
That is really powerful. Okay, we are already running out of time. I hope you can give us just a little bit more time because I want to talk about your best-selling book. Actually, you are a co-author, right? Everyday Moment: Lessons That Transform Lives. I think the people listening right now need to hear more about this. First of all, why do you think this book needed to be written?
Oh, well, there are so many things that happen in our lives, and that transformational moment like I talked about, and I've
Yes.
discussed that a lot in the book, but also the people that are in the book had those moments as well, and
Mm,
they are a part of my life, they've been parts of my life
yes.
in many different perspectives.
Mhm.
2 of the girls helped me with my nonprofit for the girls at the school, and we were able to get
Wow.
the grant and serve them. One of the girls I played hockey with in 1999, she
Really?
joined me. One of the
Wow.
girls was on my nationals team. One girl started the Bible study with me. Uh,
Wow.
one, we've created some businesses together. One's my mom, and so
Yes.
it was an amazing moment to be able to serve these women and say,
Man.
"Hey, if you had something to share, how
Hmm.
how could you talk about that moment that transformed you?" Right? Going back to the podcast, but
Wow.
helping it become more tangible for people that they could be on that journey too.
Yes. So, why do you believe transformation happens in moments, but not in milestone?
Oh, because if you close your eyes right now, you know the moment you fell in love,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? You know that moment,
Yeah.
You know the moment when you rode that roller coaster and you just about had a heart attack?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know the moment when you graduated, when you received that certificate, that completion?
Mm,
It's the moment, right? It's yes, it's a goal that you achieve, but it's that 1 second. It's that
mm,
moment that you feel like that is something that no one else could ever feel the way that I just felt it.
yes. Wow.
Having a parent pass away, like, that's only something that you can experience that one moment. Like you
Yes.
said,
Yes.
it can never happen again, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And unless somebody else goes through the same thing, they would never will quite understand what you went through. But looking back, you have so many moving stories in this book. What is one story from the book that still moves you emotionally today?
Well, when I was eliminated from my job, when this happened,
Mm,
I was still going through personal growth, but what I realized through learning about myself was that I started to appreciate people that had also experienced this kind of what I felt was so much pain,
mm-hmm.
that I was so devastated, like, how would I be eliminated from my job? And they told me that I had no value, right?
Wow.
Totally wrong, but I was so hurt, and I knew that I had way more in me than they even appreciated, and it took me I don't know, it took me back to when my mother was a single parent, and maybe she had experienced this kind of a loss and pain,
Mm-hmm.
and there were so many things that as a child I may not have understood, where she was at the time that all of this was happening.
Mm,
And something inside of me stirred to forgive her for things that I may have held against her.
wow.
Just like I got it. I started to see selfishly how things that you don't understand because you can't
Yes.
until you can.
Wow. That's powerful.
That's what happened. And she
Mm,
even said when she read it, like, "Well, what was that?" And I said, there were just things as a kid, like, but you were a single parent. You didn't
yes.
have great community with your family,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't have what I my grandparents took me under their wing. You didn't have
Yes.
that. She did not even go back to the hospital that she worked at and tell people that
Mm,
her husband had passed away,
wow.
because she said at that point, at 30 years old, she didn't have a community like today that would support you.
Yes. Yes.
So she kept that inside, and I'm like, "I have all this support."
Wow.
She didn't have that, right? So, as I understood that, I thought, "How
Mm,
selfish of someone," right? To think not like that I could have had more, it was
yes.
just those things that you don't understand that I just kinda said, "Gosh, that's a lot of weight for somebody to carry."
Wow. Man, I think we definitely need to learn more about empathy in this country for sure, especially now, and how to better communicate and be more inclusive for sure. Now,
Yeah.
for those who are reading your book here for the first time, what if maybe one principle you think, if there's only one that they should apply this year, which one would you recommend?
Consistency. You
Yes.
know? Be Add consistency in your life in some fashion to do something different than you've ever done. Push yourself beyond a limit so that you can learn something about yourself through consistency. I
Mm,
haven't done the 75 hard challenge when I wrote that book yet, but that
yes.
taught me a lot last year about myself, and I wasn't ever gonna go back. I'm like, "I don't care what it takes, I have to finish every day for 75
Wow.
days because I can't
Yes.
give up."
Wow.
So,
Powerful.
yeah, hard, talk about hard, but you have to have the mindset, right? And so
Yes.
anything that you want to try to do, you can totally do. You've gotta prepare for it, and you've gotta take the action.
Man. So it goes back to what I titled this episode, right? Everyday leaders change the world. And I think it has to do with that word consistency. What is a everyday leader?
It's someone that values yourself so that you can value other people, and
Wow.
you can make a difference. And you have to do it every day, right? And you have to find like, for me, it's been the Bible study, it's been learning how to assess who I am every day
Yes.
to be reset so that you can do it as a private devotional. You can do it however you see it. For
Yes.
me, it became about building a community because now we are a community. We go to the Live to Leads together. We used to go to
Yes.
Atlanta all the time.
Wow.
So, but
Amazing.
now we do things differently as a community because we understand and we value growth. We
Wow. That's
value growth.
amazing. That's amazing. I think we weren't meant to live our life all by ourselves. We're supposed to live life together as a community. Find your tribe. That's so powerful. Okay, one more question about the book. I know technically we are out of time. Can you give me maybe 10, 15 more minutes? Can we or no?
Of course, we
Okay,
have a
thank
lot
you.
to
Thank you.
talk about.
But yeah,
I
because
wanna
I
tell
have
you
so
about the
much.
tape. Oh my gosh, I wanna
Absolutely.
tell you about the tape. Yes.
One more question I want to ask about the book. Writing the book, how did that change you as a leader? How did that affect you being one of the co-authors?
Well, I've written a lot of co-authored books, and then so this project took me 2 years because I could not finish it. I was about the
Yeah.
I went back to all the gaps, right? Perfection gap, expectation. What
Hmm.
oh my gosh, I've learned something new. I should write something else in here instead of just like finish it, right?
Yes.
So, I had somebody drop out of the book and just, was frustrated, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but I need to get this done for them." It wasn't about, like, tell the right story, tell it the
Hmm.
right way. Just tell the story. Like, you can do
Yes.
this more. That's the thing. Just do one.
Yes. Yes.
And then I was in a lot of other co-authored books, so I got to share different parts of different stories, right? And so but it was
Mm.
really like, "It's about serving these women. Let's go. We need to get this out."
Yes.
And my mom, when I asked her to be a part of it, she wrote her chapter, and she said she went to the library, and after she wrote her chapter, she shook. Like,
Mm.
she just her whole body shook. She had never talked about things,
Wow.
even to me, that she had written. So for her, this was like therapy
Yeah,
of
like
telling about transformation in her life, and
it was
I was shocked.
cathartic. Wow.
Yeah. So it was
That's
so
amazing.
it's pretty awesome to happen. Yeah,
Wow.
and yeah. So you never know, right? You ask that question, and
Yeah.
give somebody permission to grow in a way that they never had
Yeah.
ever thought about.
That's really amazing. And I know it's not mostly for women, but no, I like to read the women leadership books too, because I think leadership is not gender specific. Guys can learn as well. But definitely for those watching now, get this for your spouse, your partner, your daughters. But really, this could make a big difference. Sometimes you just need one idea that has
Yeah.
a potential to completely change your life. And something you said, let's talk about perfection for just a little bit, especially those who follow me from the military. Sometimes we try to be perfect, but sometimes perfect, excellent is good enough, right? How did you learn that lesson where you don't have to be perfect, you are good enough?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so my husband and I have been working together in business for a long time. He's in media production and
Yeah.
he's, more of a mastery and details, and I'm kinda like, "Just get it done," right?
Yes.
But what I learned is it's important to do it, as best as you can.
Mm,
You don't have to be perfect, but if you
yes.
can just do it the best you can. We did in 2021 a 6-hour virtual leadership summit,
Wow.
and we had 25 speakers, and so we really organized it, and it was so great because for 6 hours, we sat in our chairs, and we just kept
Yes.
people running, you know how it is,
Wow.
and we did it, and it wasn't perfect, it was amazing, and we served so many people and did our
Yes.
masterminds afterwards, and I still get people talking about that, and
That's
it's
amazing.
in 2021, right? Because
Yes.
of COVID, and we thought, "Well, let's be creative and serve people," and yet
Wow.
I still have people call me and say, "You should be writing a book about how you did that."
That's amazing. See, because for people like us, especially most people who get in the military, I think they are about my type. No, it's like paralysis by analysis, right? You just want to be so perfect, and then you never get anything done. When you can help so many people and serve so many people by just getting it out, and
Yep.
And something I've learned in Silicon Valley, it may not be the first iteration is never perfect. It's always has a lot of issues with it and bugs, but then they have the iterative process where they fix it as quickly as possible and make it better and better and better. Pretty much every software Microsoft has ever released has always been a beta software, and then they get the feedback from everybody in the world, and then they fix it. But the thing is, if you wait for that software to be perfect, you're never gonna be able to get to market.
You
And
never experience it, right? So if
yeah,
you never do it, you never know what to change, and that's
yes,
the thing. It's so incredible. You talk about it, but until you do it,
yes.
you don't
Wow.
understand it.
Now, you mentioned your husband. I think you have to tell us a story. What is the story behind this one here?
Oh, I love this story. This is so awesome. So, okay, so go back to my grandparents and traveling around the country with them, going to camp meetings, and my great
Mhm,
uncle, my grandmother's brother, was a Baptist minister. And so everywhere that he went, he would want to tape ministers on a
mhm.
cassette. You know, like a cassette tape.
Like this one.
There it is. And
Yeah.
so this is one that he taped. So he was at a meeting in Kentucky back in 19 I think we said his I think it was like in
Let me see if it
1970.
says that on the picture.
I don't think that it says
Yeah,
the year,
but
but his dad said he was a minister for so many years, so John was calculating
so
it.
if
But
there
he
are any Gen Zs listening right now, a cassette tape is something that's kind of like media, but for old people, I guess that would
old
make
people
sense.
it's one of those things you want now because you didn't have it. But
Yes.
so my uncle went to the pulpit and he would press the cassette button and he would press record, and
Yeah.
every minister he ever preached with, he
Wow.
would have a cassette. And then he would travel in his van and he would listen to the sermon and he
But
would write sermons.
do you know the first time I learned about John Maxwell? He used to be a pastor and he used to have those cassette tapes that he would send out. That's how I first learned about him. And then I learned about his book, and like I say, the rest is history. But there's definitely a lot of story and things happening with just cassette tapes. It's
Cassette tapes, right? So
incredible.
so
Yeah.
my uncle so here's the thing, my uncle taped John Maxwell's dad. This is Melvin Maxwell.
Wow.
So, as my uncle had passed away in 2020, I was kind of going through all these so I got all the family stuff,
Hmm.
right? Because that's what happened. Because 'cause I'm in ministry, basically. So I
Yes.
get all these tubs, these plastic tubs, these gray plastic tubs with cassette tapes,
Wow.
overflowing. And I decided one day in March of 2024, I'm gonna drag them into my office, and I was like, I gotta go through one of them. I just gotta start this before I came to the conference.
Wow.
And I opened it up, and that's the tape that I saw on the top.
That's amazing.
And
First
it's
one.
Melvin Maxwell, and if you know John Maxwell, he has salt and light on the back of his
Yeah.
phone. He always talks about salt and light, be bigger, be better, be brighter.
Hmm.
This is his dad preaching salt and light.
Wow.
Now come on,
That's amazing. Melvin Maxwell.
Melvin Maxwell. So and again, his father had passed away, right, a few
Incredible.
days before my uncle. So I thought, well, John says, be a river, not a reservoir. I gotta get
Yes.
this to him. I gotta figure
Yes.
this out. So
Wow.
we called Andrew, and Andrew Manzano is who records John all the time, and
Mhm.
Joe's good friends with him, and he said, "What would be the best way that we could give this to John so he could listen to it?"
Yes.
And so we, have kind of we have all kinds of audio stuff, but anyway, we recorded it, and Joe gave it to John, as you can see in the picture
Wow.
here. So I'm
Yeah.
handing John and telling him the story. I said, "This is your father recorded," and Joe has a
Incredible.
little lanyard. He gave him, so the recording so he could put it in his computer and listen to it.
Yes.
And, um, and so I have
Wow.
that now on Dropbox because I kept a copy of it, and
That's amazing.
but giving it to John, I have a video of him, everybody was taping it, Andrew and
Man.
Christian De La Rosa was there like, "Click, click, click, click."
Wow. That's
But
amazing.
but I said to Ray, I said, "I have something that I wanna give to John and not in the alumni room, but I wanna do this as privately, but
Mhm.
I need to give this to him
Yes.
before I lose it."
Yes. Wow.
But he looked at me and he said I go, "John, this is your dad," and then he was like, "We" you know, y you
Wow.
just took him back for a moment, and then you could
Yes.
see the tears.
Yes.
And
Incredible.
he said, "This is my dad. This is my dad."
Wow.
And so, being able to give something to
That's
someone that they
priceless.
not get
Yes.
from they can't buy it, but
Yes.
when this is what happens with growth.
Mm.
You
Amazing.
are able to do things that you would never believe possible
Yes.
because you don't know. But when you start to grow, you start to see things are put in your path from you're connected, right? When you're in alignment,
Yes.
things start to kind of come together for you, and you see how do you serve people that you truly
Mm.
have a heart to serve. And this has happened to John, it's happened to so many of my leaders that I serve
Yes.
because you see it, right?
Wow.
You don't I couldn't have, like, prescribed this
Yes.
from forever, but to have it in the moment, again,
Mm.
when
That's
I
powerful.
opened when I opened that tub and I looked down and I saw that pink and yellow and I thought, "Oh, what's this?" And it said
Wow.
Maxwell, and I'm like, "Is that a Maxwell tape?" And then I was like, "Melvin Maxwell?"
Wow. That is amazing.
Could not believe it,
That's
right? Could not believe it.
wow.
So then we listened, and I thought, "Yeah, this is Melvin Maxwell." But I also
Yeah.
heard my uncle fuddling around in the background, like,
That's crazy.
but so cool
Yeah.
to be able to be at IMC to have that experience
Yes.
and to give something that you love your mentor and to
Mm.
give them something that that they just appreciate,
Yes.
that they can sit in that moment and go, "I can hear my dad again." Like,
Wow.
he
That's
probably had
amazing.
never heard that
That's
speech at that
amazing.
time, so now he gets to enjoy that.
Yes, that's really legacy, more important than leaving money or anything like that to your children or your grandchildren. And I know John's daddy talked a lot about him. He was a man of integrity, of character, and there's nothing in the world, in my mind, more important than that.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yep.
that's incredible, man. Thank you for sharing that story.
You're
Almost gonna
welcome.
make me cry. It's wow, powerful, powerful.
I love it. I just
Um,
love it, and, it's when what happened when we went to Argentina, which also
yes,
made me so emotional because I
mm,
feel like those are moments, again, when people do something that
yes,
is so important to them that they want to include you in that. And
mm,
so when we were in Argentina last September, John had us all in the room as kind of the launch for the country, and so he does this, sometimes when he comes to the countries,
mhm,
and we were able 140 coaches were in the room, and he says, "I wanna give you something." And if you know John, there are, certain things that he really appreciates, he
yes,
values them.
yes,
And he said, "I wanna give you something from Mark and myself, not from the foundation, not this is
mhm,
a personal gift, and I had this specifically picked out for you as coaches that are here serving with me."
wow,
And he had each one of us come up to the stage, and he gave us a Mont Blanc pen
wow,
that had significance on one side and Argentina on the other,
amazing.
and I bawled.
Yes,
It affected me so profoundly because I knew that that was something that John he's not materialistic, but he
mhm,
values quality,
yes,
and for him to pass that on to us because we were there,
that's
ju and
amazing.
I'm just getting emotional now, but
Wow,
it was one of the moment that you just step back and say, "I'm receiving this gift from you because you value me," right?
wow, that's amazing. And one thing it says, right, once you test significance, success will never, never satisfy. What's the difference between significance and success?
It's others.
Wow.
Success is you. Yes, you can prove to do anything, but the significance is what goes through you,
Hmm.
how you
Yeah.
see the world differently, how
Yes.
you show people that you value them and that they feel value.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, I remember I mentioned in the green room, I went with John and the team to the Dominican Republic. I think it was 2021 because COVID was already there. I remember it took us longer to get access and get through the airport, and we had to do all of the shots. And all of that. But once we got there, man, the impact we had on that country, we were there for just about a week, I think. But me personally, I was able to speak to probably about 150 or so local teachers, businessmen, consultants. I mean, it was just amazing. And of course, I understand Spanish, but I don't speak Spanish, so I had to have a translator. But just being there and having such a huge impact, I mean, it's gonna stay with me for the rest of my life. It's just amazing.
It's amazing. And you're right, the translators, I had been in Germany, like I said, in 2016, so I
Mm.
didn't have a translator with me, but I learned how you have to slow down when you're in a different country, and
Yes,
yet we do have translators when we go on these trips,
yes.
and it is amazing to think how
Ah,
with even the AirPods had just come out in Argentina,
mhm.
so we could do that. But having our people that volunteered their time, say 140 coaches. So now you need 140 volunteers from the country that are giving up 4 days.
Yeah,
One of the people that I met was a thoracic surgeon
that's
that was
amazing.
there and gave up his time because he wanted his country to be better,
Wow,
right? I mean, come on.
that is
You you
crazy.
can't experience this even if you wrote
Yes,
it down, like, "Here's what I would like to have happen," right?
yes,
But
yes.
it's the access that John's influence gives to the team that
That's
when you
amazing.
lean in and say, "I wanna be a part of significance with John,"
Wow.
you sign up for the e-ticket.
That is amazing. And now what I wish is for us to do it right here in America. I think we need it more than any time in our history, it seems like. But no, it's just life changing when you live your life for others. Okay, I've already used so much of your time, but if I can maybe 10 more minutes before we
Yes!
close. Okay, I have so many questions for you. So one, so for this last segment, I kind of try to get into your head, your thinking, your mind, your mindset, how you got to be as successful as you have become now. So one question I would ask is, what actually you gonna recognize those questions? Was I have a 7 question from Papa John? So the first one, what is the greatest lesson you have ever learned in
Mm,
life, in leadership, in general?
you know, it is to meet people where they are.
Hmm, that's amazing. So the person I interviewed yesterday, retired Captain U.S. Navy, told me the same exact thing. That's really incredible.
It's because when people hurt you, when you're going through change and growth, you expect them to be a friend or be patient or consider your feelings at a certain level. You consider people to do things for you that are
Mhm.
impossible, and so if you meet people where they are, you can also see where their heart is, and if it's a good heart or if it's a manipulative heart.
Yeah.
So, if you can really just step back and understand, like I did for my mother, the forgiveness of
Yes.
just understanding what are they doing right now? What are they going through? How are they influenced or affected?
Mhm.
You can make the best decisions for what you need to do next if you can just learn that one lesson.
Wow. Powerful. So, what do you think is the secret of your success in corporate America with medical sales, and then you became a certified international uh, author, best-selling author 8 times now, keynote speaker, teacher, trainer, like everything you do, consulting, leadership development. Why are you so successful? You think?
I don't give up. I'm persistent and I just keep moving forward. I keep doing things, trying things, learning things,
Mm,
developing communities, and collaborating with people that I see have value and are trying to do things that they may not have access to, and bringing the right people together to give them the tools, either
yes.
through joining the John Maxwell team, like, the Maxwell leadership team,
Mhm.
giving people access to things that they think that I want to do more and I wanna be more. Of course,
Yes.
we as coaches think, "Oh, you should just hire me, I can solve your problems."
Yes.
Like, not me. I
Yes.
wanna give them access to things and community like John gives to us,
Yes.
right?
Wow.
That's what I really see is important.
That's really powerful. When you say you keep moving forward, of course, we're talking the green room now. Everybody, even those who are extremely successful, I believe you are one of those people. You still have to go through failures at times, and I guess Papa John calls it learning. Right? Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, but we do have to have learning session times throughout our career and our path. So, how has failure shaped your life?
Oh, the lessons, oh my goodness. It's incredible. I think failure for me, because I'm a high I trust a lot of people,
Mm,
and a lot of people have let me down.
yeah.
And I have learned lessons of just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Mm, wow.
And it's been really hard because I want to build community, and for me, it's why can't we all just get along and see the same way?
Hmm.
And yet
Yes.
there are some people that really have agenda-driven hearts first, and
Yes.
it hurts my heart, right? It hurts my heart when I find those people, because I think, well, it doesn't have to be this hard. And
Mm,
yet, again, meeting them where they are, you have to say, "I gotta cut my losses," and maybe I've learned some great things from them.
hmm.
One of the hardest things for me is to trust people that have bad influencers in their life.
Mm, wow.
So, when I see something, there's a lot of celebrity hype still because, Hollywood is
Mhm.
competing with the internet today.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so you have a lot of celebrity that they have bad language, they have bad values, and
Mm,
a lot of people think that they're great people. And so if you just would step back and listen and say, "Well, why are they acting that way? Why do they influence
yes.
people that way?"
Mm,
So the people that you surround yourself by,
yes.
right? Sometimes you make bad judgment calls because you're like, "I didn't know that they really thought that much of that kind of an
Mhm.
influencer." And so that's been a big lesson of just
Yes.
paying attention, right? Don't be so first to jump in and welcome everybody.
Yes.
Really understand who you are working with and what they really value in their
Mm,
everyday life. What do they do consistently?
yes.
Um,
Discernment. Yeah.
Discernment, and let them show you, right? Ask the right
Yes.
questions so you can learn before you commit.
Wow. That's
And
powerful.
that's been huge.
Another book of Proverbs talks a lot about that. And talking about value, I know Papa John teaches, right? I have great values and you need to have good values. And I value people and then I add value to people. If you do it that way, you can't go wrong. Wow. Powerful. Okay. So I know that leaders are learners. What type of things have you been learning these days recently?
Oh my goodness. There's so much that I'm learning. I'm learning marketing systems.
Oh,
I'm learning Go High Level.
yes.
I'm learning systems is what I'm learning. The biggest
Yes.
part of, Craig Rochelle during this last
Hmm.
Live to Lead, great people can have bad systems and they just aren't seen.
Yes.
And I think that's been really one of my nemesis is I need better systems to serve broader and bigger, not wider, but deeper,
Yes.
right? So that's what I'm trying to learn in this season of my life is how do I develop the right systems so that I can really dive deep and I can serve the
Mm,
community that I need to be serving. And I've never been one to kind of go wide like, "Oh, let me get involved in all this." And
yes.
yet I think there are so many gaps because I really have a big heart and I want to go to that next level.
Mm,
And so for me, it's what are the tools? What do I need? How can I multiply the things that I already have learned and know? And the
yes.
people that are, the podcasts that I've had for years, it's how do I get that content back out and redistribute it and make sure that
Mm,
people are learning the lessons that it's not just content, right? I mean,
yes.
my gosh, John Maxwell's dad was taped in the
Yes.
1970s and it
That's
came
great.
back and look
Yeah.
what it did, right?
Yes. Yes. It's amazing.
But that's what I know, and so
Yeah.
content lives forever, you just have to have
Mm,
the right system to be able to serve, and that's the
that's
biggest thing
amazing.
that I'm trying to elevate now is
Wow.
don't be so stubborn about it, let people help you that really understand it,
Yes.
and don't be threatened by their knowledge because they wanna help you.
That is really powerful. I do want to mention something about legacy, right? Because it's really important, I think. And sometimes people are a little bit afraid. I don't want to put my name out there. I don't want to start a podcast or write an article or write a book. But just a simple example, General Khan Paul, who I consider one of my major influences in my life. I met him once only, but this man was quite special. But I am so glad, even though he's no longer with us, he did write 2 books, both of them New York Times #1 best-selling books. So even though he's no longer with us, I can still go to his book, read his book, and still be mentored by him. So it's really powerful how whatever content you create can really last a generation, and that is so important. And for those who are listening right now, they may be afraid of, they don't want to put their name out there. I'm telling you, that's one of the best things you may do. Of course, some people are gonna not like what you do, criticize you or whatever, but that's not the people you're writing the content for anyway, right? So
That's
there
right.
is somebody out there who's waiting for you to tell them something that is going to affect their destiny, and that is quite powerful, isn't it?
Yes. You got to do it. That's the thing. If you don't do it, if I hadn't started the podcast, I haven't done it in about a year and a half consistently because we've just been moving the offices and
Yeah,
changing things. But I think, 25,000 downloads from
that's
our
amazing.
original podcast, and
Wow.
people still call me every day and say, "I
Yes.
didn't know you interviewed the VP of Disney, and I didn't know you interviewed Tracy Morrow, and I didn't," and I'm like,
Yes.
"Yeah, well, that was really just my heart to learn about
Wow,
this,
that
right?"
is crazy. That is amazing.
So
That's why from this interview, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of content. One, of course, is the podcast itself. Then in about, well, let's say 3 weeks. It used to take me only about a week and a half, but I have a long queue, but which is okay. I will be consistent. I will eventually catch up, but I'm gonna have artificial intelligence give like a 10-minute summary of our hour-long conversation. Then I'm gonna write an article about the leadership lesson we talked about. Then I'm gonna have very short clip of the interview, because most people today, especially kids, their attention span is very, very small. So 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that's good. 1 hour, that's just too much. So I'm gonna give them a 30-second a 1 minute clip from our conversation now. So basically, out of one interview, we're gonna have like a whole bunch of content, and I'm gonna ping you for all of those things. And it's really incredible what the impact you can have by recycling the same information and content over and over again in different ways. So anyway, thanks so much for sharing that. Okay, again, I feel a bit guilty. I've already, we passed 27 minutes, but if you give me permission, I have a couple more questions to ask before we close. Okay, thank
yeah.
you. So, if you could choose 3 people to have dinner with, who would you choose and why? They could be alive, they could be dead, they could even be fictitious characters. Who would you choose?
My dad, I would love to have dinner with my dad just to, you know, ask all the things that nobody really has ever been able to share with me.
Yeah,
Um, I'd love to be able to pay that $10,000 to have dinner with John,
yes,
to go to his house because,
yes,
it just he warms my heart, and I love him, and I want to just learn everything that I can from him, and he always gives us that
yes,
opportunity to donate, some money and
yes,
come to his home in December, and so I'd really love to be able to do that intentionally and
yes.
enjoy and experience that. Um, and the third person I think is my grandfather. He died when I was 21 years old,
Mm,
and his experience, his father was a, Pilgrim's Holiness minister that had a
wow,
community center, a church, a tabernacle where John's dad preached as well here in Indianapolis, and,
incredible.
just the things that he learned in his life as a minister and how he lost 2 sons before he passed away.
Mm,
Um, he taught me so much, and I would love to just sit with him and share with him what I've learned and how we've continued to grow the legacy for the family,
yes,
you
that's
know?
amazing.
So
Wow, I really admire that, because many people they would use legends or inf- influencer, famous people, Oprah or Obama or MLK or whatever. But you're talking about your dad, your grandfather, and your mentor. That is very, very powerful. Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
Um, okay, some of the books I guess we've already mentioned. Why should people get the Leadership Bible? Which again, everybody who's watching me knows that's part of our curriculum. That one and 21 Laws of
Yeah, it's
Leadership.
you
But just
know,
in case they weren't paying attention, why should they read this?
It's the only book you should I tell people this in the team even, like, "Oh, which book should I buy to teach blah, blah, blah?" I'm like, "The Leadership Bible." "Well, which
Yes.
book should I take for communication?" "The Leadership Bible." "Well,
Yes.
which for teamwork?" "The Leadership Bible." And they're like, "What do you mean?" If you
Yes.
go to the index it gives you leadership lessons, leadership summaries, every 600 lessons in there
Yeah.
with that in the Daily Reader and the one that you said, The Leader's Heart, like, this is a great one too. But if you just take
All of
those
it. Yeah.
lessons, you can have an entire your the rest of your curriculum for your leadership journey
Yes.
from all those lessons. It doesn't say Job or Ezra, like, it tells you about, like, what's your perspective as a leader and what should you be planning for and thinking about and asking about.
That's
It is the best book in the entire world for you to do what we do.
yes. Yes. Wow. Powerful. Powerful. And then you've already talked about the 15 invaluable laws of growth. Why should we read that one?
Uh, from my perspective, it changed my life. You
Yes.
know, when somebody leans in and says, "I think you should read this," and
Mm.
then you ask them why, and if it changed their life, that's
Wow.
why. And so it's changed my
Powerful.
life. I applied every lesson. It's what my podcast was based on, asking people
Mm.
questions from every chapter.
Yes.
It changed my husband's life. He joined the team. It's changed my mother's life, my stepfather, my
Wow.
friends, my community. And now I
Fantastic.
have about 16 or 17 people that have joined the Maxwell organization
Wow.
because they have also gone in this journey with me to say,
Yes.
"Oh, I get it. Like, I understand it now." So when
That's
you change from
amazing.
the inside, it just changes you,
Yes.
right? And so you
Yes.
gotta start anywhere, but start.
Yes. Wow. And then the third book you mentioned was the Maxwell Daily Reader.
I love this one. This is the one we use after our devotional every morning at the end
Yes.
because we say, there is a lesson in here. It's 365 lessons
Hmm.
from one of John's books. So he tells a story, and
Yes.
it basically gives you a challenge to think about. And so
Mm.
what happens with us is it doesn't matter. We aren't on Proverbs every day. We're on
Yes.
wherever we've decided to go.
Hmm.
What's interesting is it doesn't matter what day we're on. The same day, we go to, like, March the 1st, right?
Hmm.
So we went to March the 1st today, and we read the story, we're like,
Yeah.
"That's Job 30." Like,
Yes.
that aligns with a lesson that you're supposed
Yes.
to take and apply.
That's
That's what
amazing.
happened because it's your mindset of what you want to see and
Yes.
what you want to do and who you want to
Wow.
become.
That is amazing. Is there maybe like a song, a book, or a movie that would be your life's theme or anthem?
Oh my gosh. I haven't thought about this one.
Good.
Um, you know, probably my grandfather used to sing Through the Upper Window,
Mm. Powerful anthem.
and my uncle put all of his songs on YouTube, and so
Ah,
I listen to them all the time, but that's probably my very favorite song because I can see him
yes.
and everyone else standing by. I can see
Wow.
them there, the day of hope,
Hmm.
saying, "You know, it's don't get worried or struggled or stressed because
Yes.
just do what you can do while you can do it. That's all we have is we
Mm.
just do
Powerful.
what we can while we can."
Wow. Powerful. Powerful. Thank you for sharing that. If you had one and only one day to live, what would you have liked your final contribution to be?
Adding value adding value to people, probably doing a broadcast, right? Giving hope, giving a message, giving a challenge for people to realize that they too can have the joy in the journey no matter what situation that they are experiencing, and making sure that people, really can understand that so that they can have it. It would be a content that they could have forever.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I really hope this podcast does it. Of course, it's not for everybody, but it is for someone. And I know the right people will be listening. Thank you so much for sharing. So powerful. And if you had a magic wand, you could solve any problem at all in the world. What is the one problem you'd like to solve first thing tomorrow morning?
I want everybody to have confidence that they can do what they see.
Hmm, it's powerful. Wow. So if you had the ear of every woman in America right now for the next 60 seconds, what would you tell them to do tomorrow morning?
Oh my gosh. Pick up the 15 Laws of Growth,
Yes.
start reading chapter 1, and get into my class because I will teach them how to apply these principles to have the confidence that they need. They can have everything thing that they want in their life if they just take the step, take the shot.
Take the shot. And that's everydayleaders.com. All right. We are coming toward the end of the podcast. Unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end, but I could be speaking to you for hours and hours. So, how can we add value back to you, Coach Melahni?
Oh gosh. Okay. So we've got so many programs going on. Buy the book, Everyday Leaders, Everyday Moments, Lessons that Transform Lives. Buy the book. Follow me on all my social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Go and support all the things that we're doing. And if you want to have the experience of the private event for Live to Lead, our license ended yesterday for some of the speakers, but I have curated some content personally from the Jesse Cole Fans First experience. That was probably one of the
Mhm.
most popular ones. But John and Craig Rochelle and then Valerie Burton, we have that content because I invested in next year's license. So I have that content to be able to bring into communities and can do that privately. So private events, I can do it
Yes.
for a virtual or in person. And
Wow.
love, love, love serving with this content because it is absolutely life changing. And you talk about taking action, it inspires people to do whatever it is that they see in their dreams to take that next step.
And by the way, Craig Goshal is also the pastor of Life Church, right, in Oklahoma. Really a fantastic, fantastic leader, and he does have a leadership podcast as well. And he's
Amazing.
also, for most people know about the Life Bible, the app. Many people use that, but that came out of his church's ministry too, which is pretty.
But we
Uh,
use that every day. The U version, we're like,
yeah,
okay, here we go, Craig.
exactly. It's just amazing. And also the other one I like to mention, no, is still my pastor, even though I no longer live in Alabama. Chris Hodges is a spiritual son of Papa John as well. He has the biggest church in Alabama. When I left, it was more than 20,000 people, which is just unheard of. Church of the Island. When I lived in Tuscaloosa, that's where we went. But anyway, great people, great leaders. They understand this principle, but not just understanding them, is putting them in practice every single day. Going back to your forces and consistency being one of them. All right, so this is great. So we are really going to the end of your. Is there a question I should have asked that I didn't get a chance to ask, Melahni?
No, I don't think so. I think we talked about everything.
Yeah. Okay. So this is gonna be my last question for you. If you could go back and give a piece of advice to your 17-year-old self, standing at the edge of this incredible career you've had, what would you say to 17-year-old Melahni?
Don't fear not knowing what the experience will teach you.
Hmm. Wow. Take a shot.
Take the shot, do the things, don't expect it to be perfect.
Yes.
And don't worry about fitting in with the friends. I've had so many friends that have just, kind of gone by the wayside.
Yes.
And as an only child and a high I, it really hurt me at times
Hmm.
in my life because I thought, why am I not included? And
Wow.
what I learned is I was being built for something completely different. And that's okay, right? But at those times, you feel that you are maybe not in the right spot, and God's just designed you for something completely different. He's
Wow.
wanting you to grow into something completely different, and so that's what I would say, like, just try to see past what you experience at the moment and see what's next for you.
Wow, that's so powerful. You are valuable just like you are. Wow. Powerful. Thank you. Okay. We do need to land this plan down. If you just give me a couple of minutes, I want to ask you uh, lightning round. It's going to take less than a minute, but don't take too long to think. Though. Just
Okay,
first thing that comes to your mind.
okay.
What is one word that defines leadership? One word.
Consistency,
Okay. Morning routine or practice that keeps you grounded.
devotional.
Okay. A book or a quote that changed your life. I think I know which one.
It's not what you do in a day, it's what you do every day.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, who inspire you most today?
John,
Yes. A leadership habit you refuse to compromise on.
integrity.
Okay. What is a question that every leader should ask themselves frequently?
Am I doing Enough to serve.
Always about other people. That's powerful. And what did you want to be when you were a kid?
I wanted to be a journalist.
Well, you're kind of a journalist now. You're a podcaster, so I think that counts. All right, 3 adjectives describing you as a child.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, 3 adjectives describing you as a child.
Oh, hyperactive.
Okay, 2 more.
Curious.
Okay, I can see that. 1
Fun.
more. Okay, what about as an adult?
Same.
All right, you're quite consistent, so you live out those forces for sure. Okay, I like to end on a positive note. What is something you are feeling optimistic about?
I am optimistic about change. I
Yeah.
am optimistic about the things that can happen next, and I'm really looking forward to what is next.
Well, most people are afraid of change. They like things to stay the way they are. Artificial intelligence, robotic, automation, they are afraid of all of that. Why are you so optimistic about change?
Because I know it's gonna be better. It's gonna make
Wow,
everything better, right? More opportunity,
really?
more growth, more connections, more collaboration, like, all of
Wow.
it brings more.
So it's really the mindset, isn't it?
Mhm.
Man. Yeah, because it's really strange in life. I don't know. The same thing happens to different people. Some people they just crumble and they are completely no done with it. But then other people that just thrive and they get better and better and better and they don't get bitter. It's just amazing how that happen. I love that. Okay, the very very last question, and this is it for the show. What is one word that represent our shared experience on this podcast today? One word.
Peace.
This. Okay, I am so grateful, Coach Melahni Ake. Really, this is the first time we've talked in person, but I feel like I've known you my entire life. I guess that Maxwell Leadership DNA is for real, and thank you for being our master teacher today. And we are so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach. I love you. Thank
Yes,
you.
love you too. Thank you. That is amazing. Wow. All right, guys. This one went a little bit longer, but I think what she had to teach us was so critical. So I want again everybody to get a copy of the book. And the book is Everyday Moment, Lessons That Transform Lives. It's really meant for women, but I think men can learn from it too. So get a copy for your wife, for your kids, for your partner, because I think this could be life changing. And also make sure to follow Coach Melahni on all of the social media, but we are on LinkedIn now. So LinkedIn, Melahni Ake Everyday Leaders, and our website, everydayleaders.com, where you can get access to Live to Lead, coaching, and everything else she offers. We are so grateful for her time today. All right. As you guys know, in February, every time we met, we celebrated Black History Month. So I had a couple of vignettes. One about something that happened in history here in the US, but also something that happened in the military with African Americans serving in the military from, the very beginning, from the Independence War to today. So what I have decided, I am going to continue doing that. So I think we only had 28 days this month, and leap years we get 29 days only, and I think that's just not long enough. So what I have decided to do is, yes, we are going to continue celebrating Black History Year, is what I call it now, not just a month, but an entire year. So what I have, let me see. I am sharing my screen. Let me switch it over. Or actually, let me do it. Just a moment. Okay, technology. Here we go. I think you can see this better now. So, for those again who follow me on LinkedIn, you can follow me and read the article. But I definitely decided 1 month is not enough. So we're gonna do Black History Year on the Leadership and Success podcast. So thing. So I want to share about something that happened in history. I think it's this one here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, let's do this. I am gonna come back with military on today, March the 1st, in 1921. In they brought then ban on interracial marriage. That was just not allowed. And one thing when I study our American history now, I've lived in the South, right, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I knew in the South there were racist, pro-slavery, and all of that. But I was really surprised to see so many laws in our history in part of the country I would consider Yankees, right? Those people were supposed to be against slavery and pro-freedom and all of that. But anyway, I want to make sure we don't forget this. When you can go read my post for more info. And also, I just showed you a second ago another first in military history, the very first African American woman who became a general, a flag officer in the U.S. Air Force. That was Brigadier General Marcelite J. Harris. She was born in 1943 in Houston, Texas. Originally dreamed of becoming an actress. She studied speech, drama at Spelman College in Atlanta. And then during her senior year, she joined a U.S. tour of military bases in France and Germany. And the experience ignited something deeper. So she became the very first African woman to be a one-star general in the U.S. Air Force. I believe she retired as a 3-star, as a lieutenant general. It's just amazing to see and to learn our history. So I think that is important. All right. So that is pretty much it for today. And like I had mentioned before, we are going to go back and continue the study on the book of Proverbs. We're going to pick up at chapter 16, AI. So I'm going to do that one of these days when I don't have an interview. And I have a couple of interviews scheduled for you guys next week. And again, I'm going to let you know in my feed. Again, thank you so much for watching the Leadership and Success podcast today. So until tomorrow, have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.